Tonight, resignation in Ferguson. Police officer Darren Wilson is leaving the force 5 days after a grand jury declined to indict him for the shooting of Michael Brown. Mark Strassman is in Ferguson with the latest. After running back Ray Rice is cleared to play in the NFL again, his wife speaks out for the first time about what happened in that elevator. Mark Albert reports. Mission creep. Jerika Duncan with an early look at holiday shopping now that Black Friday has taken over all of Thanksgiving week. And location, 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 plus a 2,500 bottle wine cellar. Carter Evans on the Beverly Hills mansion that could be yours for $85 million.
It's the finest of everything. It's Louis Vuitton on steroids.
This is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Jim Axelrod. We begin with breaking news tonight. Officer Darren Wilson has resigned from the Ferguson, Missouri police force, effective immediately. Let's go to Mark Strassman, who is outside Ferguson Police headquarters tonight. Mark?
Jim, it was clear Officer Wilson could not return to police headquarters behind me, where he's been on paid administrative leave since August 9th, the day he fatally shot Michael Brown. His resignation comes after several weeks of negotiations between his attorneys and attorneys for the city of Ferguson. But that resignation is unlikely to stop protests here.
At the Canfield Apartments where Michael Brown was killed, the NAACP set off on a week-long 120-mile march. They'll end up at the Missouri Governor's Mansion to demand reforms in the Ferguson Police Department. This demonstration outside the courthouse in Clayton included many mothers who have lost children to gun violence. Pastor Tracy Blackman.
There's been killing after killing after killing. Some, yes, at the hands of police, and some at the hands of other people. It does not matter. We want the blood in our streets to stop.
Tensions still remain high. This cell phone video shows 100 protesters inside a mall in nearby Brentwood. They laid down in the aisles of a supermarket, but there were no arrests.
Send that killer cop to jail!
Back at the Canfield Apartments, 70 bikers, many of them police and firefighters, rallied in support of Michael Brown, but against rioters and looters. Retired cop Harlan Smith led the group.
Tearing up my neighborhood is not going to be accepted. If I got to bring 100 bikers here to St. Louis to do that, then that's what I'll need to do.
On Monday night in Ferguson, arsonists turned a dozen businesses like the Little Caesars Pizza into a total loss. Today, some of a dozen former employees gathered outside, including Elena, the assistant manager, and single mom to Amaya.
What about you personally? What's going to be the hardest part?
My daughter, knowing that I probably cannot provide for her until I get a job.
There are a couple hundred people without jobs because of this.
Yeah.
In the same boat you were.
Yeah, we all need help. We all need a lot of help right now.
People out here are just starting to learn that Officer Wilson has resigned. His resignation letter reads, in part, "It was my hope to continue in police work, but the safety of other police officers and the community are of paramount importance to me. It is my hope that my resignation will allow the community to heal." Again, Officer Darren Wilson has resigned effective immediately. Jim?
Mark Strassman reporting from the Ferguson Police Department. Mark, thank you. 9 months after NFL running back Ray Rice and his wife, Janae, got into a fight in a casino elevator in Atlantic City, she is now breaking her silence about exactly what happened in that incident that was vividly captured on security cameras. Here's Mark Albert.
I was furious. We came home and we didn't talk the entire ride.
In an interview with NBC, Janae Rice described what she was thinking the night her fiancé, now husband, hit her in the elevator of an Atlantic City hotel and casino.
I just didn't even want to entertain him, anything that he had to say, any explanation. Of course, in the back of my mind and in my heart, I knew that our relationship wouldn't be over because I know that this isn't us and it's not him.
Janae Rice also gave an extensive interview to ESPN, published Friday. She had editorial control over what was published, but described in her own words what happened. The video didn't make me rethink our relationship, she said, but I did want more of an explanation from him. I asked him why he left me on the floor like that. He told me he was in shock. Rice also explains at length why she says they decided to stay together. I just had to remember the things I saw in my parents' marriage. Be strong when your partner is weak. I stuck with Ray because I truly love him. Ray Rice has apologized publicly several times and again Friday called his action an inexcusable mistake. Jeff Foster, sports editor at the Wall Street Journal, says it's a mistake NFL teams are likely to overlook.
Michael Vick got another chance. Dante Stallworth was in a fatal hit and run. He got another chance. I think that next year, certainly a team will take a chance on him.
Regardless of if or when he plays again, Rice's case could upend how the NFL disciplines players. Players Union head DeMaurice Smith has called for a neutral arbitrator to handle player discipline. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
There will be changes to our personal conduct policy. I know this because we will make it happen. Nothing is off the table.
Those changes are due to be announced sometime before the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, with just 5 more weekends to go in the regular season, no team has publicly offered Rice a second chance yet. Jim?
Mark Albert in our Washington newsroom. Mark, thank you. Retailers are still counting the receipts from Black Friday. 140 million people are expected to shop over the entire 4-day weekend and spend some $50 billion in the process. Jerika Duncan has more now on the kickoff to the holiday shopping season that has grown from 1 day to an entire week.
The race to get the best holiday deals started before Thanksgiving Day dessert even reached the table. Many mall and store owners opened earlier than ever.
This kicks off our money-making season.
Bargain hunters led the way. According to America's Research Group, or ARG, more than 80% of people who shopped Thursday into Friday grabbed their sale items and left. Founder Britt Beamer.
Years ago, many people bought the deals and other things. Now they're just buying the deals.
ARG interviewed 2,000 people by phone and found more than 44% of shoppers on Thursday were teens, sent out by their parents to wait in long lines for the best deals.
And my favorite line was one child said, well, my father's paying my college tuition. I guess I can give up 4 hours on Thanksgiving Day to buy his TV set.
While some people were hunting for bargains, others chose this iconic shopping day to call for an increase in minimum wage.
Can't take it no more.
And pushback against Thanksgiving store hours didn't have a major impact. According to ARG, a record 63% of American families shop Thursday and Friday.
Consumers never get mad at a retailer for giving them a great price.
I look out and see what stores are having what deals, and I do it.
There's one thing that retailers know. If I shop you over Black Friday weekend, there's a 70% chance I will come back into your store again at least once or twice during the season.
And that's what this is all about.
And it's what it's all about.
And more records were set online. One report showed that Thanksgiving Day online sales were up 14% from 2013. And Jim, on average, consumers saved a little more and spent a little less year over year.
Jerika, thank you. An Egyptian court today dismissed murder charges against former President Hosni Mubarak. Mubarak supporters in the courtroom cheered the ruling that he should never have been tried for the killing of more than 200 demonstrators during the Arab Spring protests in 2011. Tonight, Cairo police fired tear gas at more than 1,000 demonstrators who had gathered to protest the court's decision. Tonight, Pope Francis is midway through a 3-day trip to Turkey, where he's spending time with leaders of other faiths in search of common religious ground. Alan Pizzi is with the Pope in Istanbul.
In a fitting start to a day that focused on interreligious harmony, Patriarch Bartholomew was on hand when Pope Francis arrived in Istanbul, part of a glacial-pace effort to heal a 1,000-year-old rift between the Orthodox and Catholic churches. The theme continued in the famous Blue Mosque, where the Pope and the Grand Mufti of Istanbul stood side by side for 2 minutes of what the Vatican spokesman called silent adoration. As the Pope toured the 1,500-year-old Santa Sofia, originally a Byzantine church, then a mosque, and now a museum, the Muslim call to prayer wafted over the city. And in another show of unity, Patriarch Bartholomew attended an unusually lively mass celebrated by the Pope in one of Turkey's 5 Catholic cathedrals. The only things resembling crowds that Francis has drawn in a country that is 98% Muslim were a few dozen well-wishers who came to wave, and a small group of protesters he never saw who chanted for Islamic unity. Earlier in his trip, the Pope singled out ISIS as an extremist and fundamentalist group who had subjected entire communities in Syria and Iraq to barbaric violence simply because of their ethnic and religious identity. Turkey is host to more than 1.5 million refugees from the conflict in Syria alone, and the Pope said the world has a moral obligation to help care for them. Whatever else the trip may or may not achieve, Francis has already managed to put moderate Muslims and the Roman Catholic Church in the same camp as opponents of religious extremism. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Istanbul.
The president's daughter is caught in the middle of a social media firestorm. And let there be light, more than 1 million Christmas lights up in the air down under, when the CBS Evening News continues. The ever-widening partisan divide in Washington did not take a break for the Thanksgiving holiday. In fact, just the opposite. Thanksgiving actually sparked the latest round of sniping, this time getting very personal. This episode of social media snarkiness began with the president conducting the Thanksgiving ritual of pardoning a turkey.
Cheese, you are hereby pardoned.
But it wasn't the president that drew the attention of a woman named Elizabeth Lawton. It was his daughters, Sasha and Malia, who were also in the room and, well, maybe not as transfixed by the pardon ceremony as they might have been a few years ago.
You guys want to pet him?
Ms. Lawton posted her thoughts on her Facebook page. "Dear Sasha and Malia," she wrote, "I get you're both in those awful teen years, but you're part of the first family. Try showing a little class. At least respect the part you play. Then again, your mother and father don't respect their positions very much, or the nation for that matter, so I'm guessing you're coming up a little short in the good role model department." Lawton wasn't done. "Dress like you deserve respect, not a spot at a bar." Which might have been lost forever to the blogosphere were it not for the fact that Ms. Lawton is the communications director for a Republican Tennessee congressman named Stephen Fincher, and used to manage new media for the Republican National Committee. A storm of pushback followed, accusing Lawton of being mean, thoughtless, ignorant, and a host of other things we can't repeat here, while calling for her job. On Friday, Lawton posted an apology. "After many hours of prayer, talking to my parents, and rereading my words online, I can see more clearly just how hurtful my words were. Please know those judgmental feelings truly have no place in my heart." Since the apology was posted on Lawton's Facebook page, it has either been deleted or made private. Black Friday is no longer just an American phenomenon. For the first time, Amazon has brought Black Friday to China, offering online customers in China the chance, yesterday and today, to buy every item for exactly the same price being charged in the United States. In Canberra, Australia, a Christmas display to outshine any other. More than 1.2 million LED lights strung along 75 miles of cable were used to create a design that was supposed to look like 3 giant Christmas presents. Not sure how the design worked out, but the 1.2 million lights is a new world record. Still ahead, a Beverly Hills mansion priced to sell at just $85 million. The National Association of Realtors said this week that sales of existing homes with price tags of more than $1 million increased more than 16% last month compared to the same month the year before. But as Carter Evans shows us, $1 million would barely get you a closet in one California home now on the market.
At the highest point of Beverly Hills, Bruce Makowski has built an $85 million house entirely on spec.
My budget was there was no budget. It has to be the best. Tableware.
So he'll throw in these Roberto Cavalli place settings, $3,700 each. Bentley chairs, $200,000 for the set, and a $40,000 chrome-polished foosball table, just for starters.
It's the finest of everything. It's Louis Vuitton on steroids. We actually have the view of outside there.
Makowski says he's filling a void with instant gratification for the billionaire who can afford the house but can't afford to wait.
I'm able to create something that somebody would absolutely fall in love with. If they don't have a taste level, they won't understand this house.
Because really, who else but a billionaire could appreciate this?
I paid $200,000 for this absolutely beautiful hand grenade. It's made out of ballistic resin,
He says he also spent $200,000 for a wall filled with nothing but giant tubes of candy.
You pack on the pounds over here, and you rip them off when you walk into the fitness room.
The fitness center is as vast as the 2,500 bottle wine cellar. Larger than life would also include this portrait of James Dean with a $100,000 exact replica of his motorcycle.
I'm not just selling the house, I'm selling the California lifestyle.
The lifestyle house, at this point, is still awaiting a buyer.
As far as value, my dad always told me it's worth what somebody's willing to pay for it.
If you have $85 million lying around, that someone could be you. Carter Evans, CBS News, Beverly Hills.
And coming up, reflections on Ferguson from one of our journalists who's been there the longest. We close tonight with another look at the events of the past several months in Ferguson, Missouri. This one through the eyes of our associate producer, Jonathan Blakely.
I got here the Thursday after Mike Brown was killed. And when I first got here, I was surprised at, how intense things were on the ground.
R.I.P. Mike Brown, we ain't stopping.
I remember overhearing someone in the crowd say they were surprised that something that they would see in the Middle East was happening in the middle of America.
We got the same ammunition you got. We live.
And you could see that, the shooting basically ripped open a scab that had been there for a while in this community.
My name Frankie with the Mighty 13.
There was one moment when we came back in October after a lot of the cameras had gone. We met a kid named Frankie Edwards who was out here trying to make a difference.
If you're looking for a job, let me know ASAP so I can go on and get to working on it.
And so it was interesting seeing who was left behind to pick up the pieces. From a law enforcement perspective, there's one lieutenant with the St. Louis County Police Department, Jerry Lohr, who night after night seems to make a connection with protesters that not a lot of cops have been able to make.
Somebody from the back throwing something at one of these guys, we don't want anybody to get hurt.
We've heard over the past few weeks from government officials and law enforcement that once this grand jury decision was announced, that they would protect small businesses and they would, look out for residents.
We are all focused on making sure the necessary resources are at hand to protect lives, protect property, and protect free speech.
This past Monday and Tuesday, we were out here on West Florissant. I witnessed at least 40 minutes straight of looting in the exact same spot that it happened in August.
No justice, no peace.
I think from the moment this story broke, I could relate to a lot of the anger. As an African American, I've had that talk about what to do when you encounter police. And I completely understand and empathize with some of those initial emotions. One thing that's refreshing, though, is just the generosity that, a lot of these residents still have and the compassion that they still have. Just this past Thursday, I was invited to Thanksgiving by a group of protesters. They didn't have to invite me. I've been sticking the camera in their faces the past few months, but they didn't have to be kind and, invite me to Thanksgiving, but they did. And so it's, when you see things like that, you know that there are people who can facilitate that positive change if they just stay focused and find something else to turn their focus to. But to say that things have gotten better, I can't say that yet.
CBS News associate producer Jonathan Blakely. And that's the CBS Evening News for tonight. Later on CBS, 48 Hours. For now, I'm Jim Axelrod in New York. And for all of us here at CBS News, thanks for joining us and good night.